Am I the a-hole for getting upset my boyfriend wouldn't take me to the ER? My boyfriend, male 20, and I, female 21, live together at my parents'. I have been having some pretty bad UTI symptoms. I went to a walk-in clinic 2 weeks ago when I had clear signs of infection, and they sent me home and said I tested negative. I woke up a week later with extreme hip pain. I spent all day on a heating pad and crying. 2 more days passed, and then I woke up with the worst abdominal pain I've ever had. I began screaming and called my mom. She says to wake up my boyfriend and tell him to take me to the nearby hospital, 7 minutes, that is small, or one that's 35 minutes away that would properly handle what was going on. I wake him up and he says to just sleep it off. At this point, I'm in tears. He says no and alludes that I'm overreacting, which I've been known to do, and it's probably nothing because I tested negative. I feel as if I've been stabbed, and this is not the type of pain I can wait out. I even compare how I'm feeling to a possible bladder rupture because of how awful I felt. Finally, he agrees to take me, but only if I let him sleep for 2 more hours. I understand that if it was some ungodly time, but it was currently 11:30 a.m. and I went to bed at 3 a.m. after playing video games. I explained that I can't wait that long and have no one else home to drive me. He turns over and lays back down. An hour goes by of the worst pain of my life, and I decide I will just try to suck it up and drive myself to the nearby ER. I woke him up one more time, and I explained that I cannot wait any longer. I need to go now because something is wrong. He snaps and says give him 1 more hour, then lays back down. I storm off in my car and make it about 2 blocks before I realize I forgot my wallet, and I was in no state to drive as I was literally in so much pain I couldn't focus. I come home and lay down in bed beside him as I scream out in pain. He says that I know it takes time for him to wake up, and I have no right to get mad. I barely utter out please take me to the one 7 minutes away because I'm scared. I remind him that I've driven 2 hours at 3 a.m. and no sleep just to pick him up from the hospital, and spent the whole summer helping him recover from his injury, including bathing and wiping him because he needed me. He argues some more, then finally at 2:30 p.m. takes me to the hospital 7 minutes away. It turns out that I had an advanced UTI and infection in my bladder and kidneys, as well as a kidney stone that was infected. I felt bad as I recalled my attitude that morning, but I was in a lot of pain. I do recall saying things like, fine, just don't help then, and you're being a prick, in rebuttal to his attitude. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Past the kidney stone, past the boyfriend. Not the a-hole. You need rid of all these. Screaming and crying in pain? A person who can ignore that is not the one for you. I take it cab etc. weren't an option. You can't rely on this guy, so you need to have alternatives. Nope. Super small town, so no Uber etc. He really was my only option at the time to get the care I needed, and he knew that. Babe, dump him to the curb, and I don't say that often. He is not a keeper. You will have to drive to give birth alone, raise kids alone. My hubby had those kinds of pains and it was his appendix. If I had waited, it would have ruptured. Just run for your life. Quite literally. Because if they had kid, OP must also raise the adult child too. Also, someone who's refusing to help you to go to ER is something you must stay away from. You were in pain and asked to go to the hospital. Why your partner didn't hop up like there was a fire under him is concerning. Sounds like you need a new boyfriend. One that actually cares about your well-being. Yep, this. First, not day home. Then, red flags. This boy has shown you who he is, and how he doesn't value you or your health. Kick that dude to the curb. You not only can do better, you must do better. First of all, I hope this is a troll, because can such a bad boyfriend exist? Dump the whole man. At least that's what I would do. What kind of person could ignore their partner who is in this much pain? Also, you said you are known to overreact. Is this something you've actually noticed about yourself? Have people in your life told you that you tend to do that? Or was it just your boyfriend? Mostly boyfriend. After posting this, it's kinda starting to make sense why he keeps cheating and I can't get him to stop. Because it's starting to become clear he doesn't care. He's cheating too? If you stay in this relationship, you're the a-hole to yourself. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for exposing and embarrassing my brother's girlfriend? So I'll keep this as brief as I can. My brother started dating this lady, Jessica, in January. The 3 of us live in the same city, about 3 hours from me and my brother's parents/extended family. So until recently, I was the only member of his family Jessica had met. One of my brother's favorite things to eat is this sweet potato and red pepper soup I make. The relevant info here is that the soup features onions as an ingredient. Not enough that you'd eat it and go, oh wow, this sure tastes like onions, but enough that if you skipped them, it wouldn't taste right. I make this soup for him approximately once a week, and Jessica has come to love it as much as he does, without ever mentioning any issues after eating it. So the issue. My brother, Jessica, and I traveled to Brother Di's hometown for our grandmother's 90th birthday celebration this week. Our mom was catering it, specifically with traditional Indian foods, since that's where she and our grandmother are from. However, when we arrived and I offered to help mom with the prep work, I noticed she was making several additional dishes like chicken nuggets, chips and finger sandwiches, and was keeping them well separate from the rest of the food. I asked what that was about, and she casually said, I'm just making sure that Jessica can have something to eat with her allergies. I said I didn't know she had allergies, and mom said, yes, she says she's severely allergic to onion, garlic, and coriander. If you're familiar with Indian cuisine at all, you get why it would be an issue for someone with these allergies. Except, Jessica eats my soup. All the time. It has onions, and it's never caused her a reaction. The part where I may have been an a-hole is I said this to my mom, which, if you're familiar with Indian mothers, you may understand how that could have been a bad move. She didn't kick off or act aggressive, but she did confront Jessica about lying and ask if there was something wrong with her cooking. Jessica just got kind of red and stammer, and eventually admitted that she just doesn't like all that curry stuff, but thought saying she was allergic would be less awkward. Mom got pissed off because she'd taken such efforts to keep everything separate and whatever to avoid cross-contamination. Jessica got mad because mom was mad, and my brother got mad at me for saying anything in the first place. Everything got rather awkward, and Jessica ended up not even coming to the party. They now haven't spoken to me all week, except for my brother telling me I'm a gossipy a-hole, and that I shouldn't have said anything, which, yeah, I kind of get. Was I an a-hole? I didn't intend to cause drama. It was kinda just a surprised, oh that's weird. My soup with onions in doesn't make her ill. I feel bad for ruining her first impression with our family and embarrassing her. You didn't expose her maliciously. You were simply caught in her lie. Nothing would have happened if Jessica hadn't lied to start with. Faking allergies to force people to cater to your needs is very disrespectful. I understand that Jessica's mad at you because now, she won't get any respect from this side of the family and will always be seen as the liar. But it's all on her. She played a stupid game, she won a stupid prize. Faking allergies to force people to cater to your needs is very disrespectful. And it makes things so difficult for people who do have them. My best friend is allergic to garlic, hot peppers, strawberries, basil, rice, all sorts of weird stuff. When people fake allergies and get caught at it, it makes the lives of people like my friend more dangerous. Yep, I have major and weird food allergies. The number of times people have decided that because Joe Blow is faking, I must be too, have been insane. So do I. I'm allergic to nightshade. I had a waitress hide a small piece of tomato in my food once. It sent me into anaphylaxis in front of my small children. Jessica lied to your mom to avoid all that curry stuff. Brother blamed you for gossiping? You answered your mom's honest conversation about how she was trying to do the right kind of cooking for Jessica. Your mom sounds great. Poor woman to have Jessica for a possible future daughter-in-law. Yeah, mom's awesome. That's part of the reason this is so annoying. If Jessica just said, hey, I don't care for Indian food, mom would still have made her something else. She just wouldn't have had to go to the effort of preparing separate sanitized work surfaces and what have you. She could have just wiped things down as normal between prep. I'm glad you recognize how awesome your mom is. I would give my non-existent left nut for an in-law who would go that far to accommodate our food allergies. Next story. Why 53 female is not okay with me 55 male paying for part of my ex-wife's 55 female daughter's 27 female wedding. My ex-wife and I were high school sweethearts and married as soon as we graduated. We stayed together for 5 years and had a daughter. We'll call her Kara. The relationship wasn't working, so we split, and my ex came out as a lesbian. My ex later had another daughter, Hannah, via honor, and I ended up becoming a father to Hannah. My ex didn't ask me to. We were on very friendly terms and already co-parenting Kara, so it came naturally. I met my now wife 3 years later, and she was very understanding of the situation and took the role of stepmother to both kids. We also have a son. Hannah's getting married next year, and my ex and her partner and I will all be paying for the wedding. We talked about this before including my wife. and everyone was fine with it. But now my wife tells me she doesn't like the idea of me paying for the wedding of a child who isn't really mine. She thinks that the money should go towards our son's education instead. I already saved some money for our son that should cover him for a couple of semesters. He can always work part-time or apply for financial aid as well. Still, my wife is upset and thinks I've taken care of her enough, and it's time to basically exit her life. I'm shocked because she seemed to absolutely adore Hannah, but I guess she never really considered her family. She made it known that she wouldn't care if it was Kara because she's my actual blood daughter. But I consider Hannah my daughter, and my ex's partner has also been a parent to Kara, including financially despite no relation, so it isn't one-sided. Edit. I'm putting in $1,200, and so is my ex and her partner. The money is coming from my separate account. Any other expenses will be covered by Hannah and her fiancé. They aren't having anything extravagant, and I have way more saved for my son. If him or Kara gets married, I will put in for them too. Now for the comments. All of this over $1,200? I thought it was like $25,000 since you wanted you to use it for your son's education. Just give the money and move on. Using it for their son's education was really just a lame excuse. She just doesn't want her husband to pay anything because she isn't blood. Opie's wife sounds awful. Agreed. He sounds like a wonderful man being there for his kids, and a wife sounds bitter and hateful. Blood makes you related. Loyalty makes you family. Hey Opie, it's $1,200 and your daughter's big day. I'd say pay for it out of your personal account. I'm so glad for the sanity check, because the comment section looked very different an hour ago, and I wondered if I was legit going crazy. He had an established relationship with Hannah before he met his wife. She knew he parented her and considered her his. She agreed to marry him knowing this. She co-parented Hannah. Here's the deal. Hannah is your daughter. Blood doesn't mean much. Being present and involved does. This was established before you were even married. Therefore, helping with her wedding is not only acceptable, but absolutely appropriate as you are her father. I adopted my daughter and have 2 boys of my own, and I love her as much as my boys. Well, probably more because daughters always hold a special place in a father's heart. I think you need to have a candid talk with your wife about this, and how important it is for you. Now for the last story. I feel like my female friends are hitting on my boyfriend, and I don't know how to address it. My boyfriend, 31 male, and I, 24 female, live together, and for the last 7 months have also worked in the same place of employment. We don't work closely, but other employees are aware we are dating because we arrive and leave together, and typically take lunch breaks together. For background information, I am very introverted. I find it incredibly difficult to make friends. I haven't had any friends for a few years now, especially with COVID. Recently, 2 girls with whom I frequently work with started chatting with me from time to time. I don't know their ages, but I think they're closer to my boyfriend's age than mine. They asked the other day if I wanted to hang out with them, and I was so excited. They suggested a movie night, and I offered to host but explained that my boyfriend would be home. They said this was fine, and we set a time and date. They are currently still over, and we're watching a movie. I bought wine and made a few baked goods and also bought some chips. I just wanted to have a good time. When they arrived, they were friendly, but when my boyfriend came to watch the movie with us, they started to ignore me. The girl beside me sneezed and accidentally spilled her wine in my lap. She apologized, but it did feel intentional. I laughed it off and went to get changed. When I came back, both girls had moved to the same couch as my boyfriend. One was whispering something to him and the other was touching his arm, acting afraid. We were watching a scary movie. My boyfriend looked mildly uncomfortable and was sitting forward in his seat. When they saw me return, the girl stopped and kept watching the movie, but didn't move. I sat on the couch I was on initially, and my boyfriend moved to sit with me. Both girls followed and sat beside him. Nothing more really happened. The movie's almost over, but they've asked to sleep over. They've both had wine, and I don't want to force them to leave if they're intoxicated, but everything that happened made me so uncomfortable. I thought they just wanted to be my friends, but now I don't know. Am I being oversensitive? I don't even know anymore. No, you're not. That is super inappropriate. I would ask them to leave. It's 2021, they can call an Uber. I would talk to your boyfriend too. He clearly wasn't okay with it, but just to be on the same page. But in no way are you being sensitive. Honestly, I would have asked them to leave the second I saw that. Just the fact that they changed seats twice to be close to him, super prick move. I wonder if them suddenly wanting to hang out with Opie coincided with them seeing her boyfriend for the first time. I wouldn't be shocked. I actually had the same thought after reading a few comments saying Opie is basically crazy, that no one acts like this. I, for one, am not shocked women and men alike have no respect anymore, and a lot of young women take pride in getting a taken man. Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. Any girl can get a single guy these days if they know what they're doing. A taken guy, however, is more of a challenge because they aren't just gonna throw themselves at you. My boyfriend looked mildly uncomfortable and was sitting forward in his seat. My boyfriend moved to sit with me. He is a proper fella. Good for him. I don't want to force them to leave. Time to put on your big girl pants. You did invite them to a sleepover. If you let them walk over you on this, they're just going to amp up their attempts at your boyfriend. You'd expect him to handle it where it's his friends behaving this way to you. Put your foot down. Then apologize to him, tell him you love him and you won't put him in that position again. Trust me, that's going to make him love and respect you even more. You're definitely not being oversensitive whatsoever. I would be 100% uncomfortable myself, and the fact that your boyfriend was uncomfortable too shows that this isn't just nothing. I would personally speak to them and say that what they did made both of you feel uncomfortable, and that type of behavior cannot continue if they want their friendship with you to continue also. If they get upset and blame you in any way, take that as a response and don't entertain them anymore. If they don't say anything, take that as a response also and don't entertain them. Hopefully they'll understand your boundaries, but if not, it's not the end of the world. I don't have many friends myself. It is important to remember that your self-worth doesn't reflect on how many friends you have. As long as you enjoy your own company, that's all that matters.